So tell us, please, do we have really a euro crisis?
Well, it sounds strange, but my answer is no. The crisis that we have in Europe is not on our currency, not on our banknotes, not on our coins. It is a problem with the governments. The governments have too high deficits, too high debt, and that is the real issue that they can't solve. It's nothing to do with the euro. The euro is a stable currency. There's no inflation in the eurozone. That's exactly what we wanted. So it's not the euro. They call it the euro crisis, but it's a crisis in the countries of the eurozone. They have too much debt, too high deficits.
What went wrong with the euro? Why we are in this situation we have today?
Well, what went wrong is that there is a lack of discipline by governments and politicians. In the Maastricht Treaty, it was already foreseen that it could happen that we want to create too high deficits, too much debt. And there was a whole procedure what to do in that case. And a few years ago, it was Germany and France who violated these rules and had a lack of discipline. And then thereafter, the smaller countries did it. And well, you know, if you do it yourself, then it's very difficult after that to be very strict and hard on those smaller countries.
You tried to fight for even tougher measures, actually. So do you remember this situation around the table when you had these negotiations?
Yes, as you know, probably that in the Maastricht Treaty today, if you have too high deficits and too much debt, then you can get a penalty. So you have to pay a certain amount to Brussels, so to speak. We were in favor of going further, so losing your voting rights around at the table in Brussels, or even not being allowed to join the meetings at the end of the day. That was not acceptable in those days for politicians. They were already afraid, probably, that once they would be undisciplined themselves, and then they would be excluded from the table in Brussels. So that was a pity. We were in favor of it. And a lot of other people in Europe were in favor of it, but at the end, politicians declined it.
Focusing on the Netherlands, actually, we have a crisis right now here as well. So the same question goes for the Netherlands. What went wrong?
Well, first of all, the crisis in the Netherlands is rather limited compared to the crisis that we have in other countries. We have agreed on an austerity program for 2012, 13 and 14 and thereafter. And we will comply with the rules in the sense that we will reduce our budget deficit below the level that the debt will not go up any further. We do that. We do that for ourselves, by the way, and not so much for Brussels. Every country should know that and knows that if your debt continues to accumulate, and every family, every household knows that, you cannot accumulate your debt all the time. Then nobody finances it anymore at the end of the day. So we know that, and we don't do it for Brussels, we do it for ourselves.
You spent your whole lifetime and your energy doing this project, the European single currency, and right now right-wing and left-wing is bashing on your creation, the euro. How do you feel upon it?
Well, I'm not so concerned about it, to be honest. When the government fell apart a couple of weeks ago, I travel a lot, and I met a lot of people, also from the United States, and they also said, "Hey, what happened? What happened in the Netherlands?" And they said, "Read my lips, they will solve it on time." And we did. And even after the elections, we will not come back on this program. This is the long tradition that we have in the Netherlands. Contrary to other countries, where if you have a new government, that the complete measures of the previous government are being changed and they go into the other directions. We don't have that. We accept what previous governments have done, and from that point on, we go further. A little bit more to the right, a little bit more to the left. That is our tradition. So I'm not afraid at all that after the elections, this agreed austerity program will change.